Boo. Yeah, 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 yeah. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Inventing a theme tune right here. Woo woo woo. I really should like have an actual theme tune worked out in advance. Anyway, whatever. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good morrow, good day. It is me, Akira, the Don. It's a beautiful day to be alive. How the heck is everybody? Insert noises. I'm broadcasting from the studio, which meant that I had to switch off the stream at home, which is where SourceWave goes from, and switches to the studio. I'm going to work out a smoother way of doing this so I can drop in and talk to you from the studio better. But anyway, yeah. I nearly cancelled this. I'm kind of ill. But I was like, it's not all set up the way I would like it. But one of the things I've learned in life is if you want to do a thing, you just have to start doing it and then just work it out as you go along. And it will just get better and better and better. But if you don't start, then you don't start, do you? Anyway, what up, Blunt Trauma? Says afternoon, Akira. Afternoon, Blunt Trauma. What up, Marcus Strickland? Checking you out as you come on, looks like. That's right. What up, SSJ Abid? Yes, Akira, the main man. It is I. Woo! And, yeah, I apologize. I look a bit shit. I sound a bit shit. Hercules has been ill. One of the things you'll find is, like, when you have a kid, is they get ill a lot, which means that you get ill a lot. Only I don't. I'm rarely ill. I haven't been ill since over a year ago. I'm hardly ever ill. So anyway, whatever. What up, Garrett Tully? What up, everybody? So anyway, I set this thing up. So, this is SourceWave Radio. Normally you're listening to saucy music, and that's cool. You'll be doing that later. But a lot of you have been asking for more interaction with me, and you want to ask me things and talk and stuff like that. So I was like, let me work out a system wherein I can jump on here and we can talk a bit. All right, so that's what's up. So hit me with any questions. A bunch of you left questions on the community tab, which is that new bit of YouTube that's kind of like YouTube being Facebook. But it's better than Facebook because it's not Facebook. And, like, your annoying auntie isn't there or whatever. Shouts out to all my aunties. None of you are annoying. All right, before we get into this, how is the audio for everybody? Is everything clear? Does it sound okay? Are we cool with the audio out there in the world? Let me know. I have a coffee. Hey, yo, we could do one of those Scott Adams type simultaneous sips. If everyone has a coffee, now's the time for the simultaneous sip. Ooh. 3, 2. Ah. All right, what up? All right, shit. Mega Swampert says, where did you find the soundbite of Jordan Peterson saying he's got clout? Why do so many people ask me that? And I've told you before, yo, this is the treasure hunt. All right, you go out there and you find that soundbite, and when you find it, you come in here and you let us know, and you will win a fabulous no prize. Hey. Oh. Audio. Apparently the audio is only coming out of one side. I wonder what I can do to fix that. I bet there's something I can do to fix that really easily. I'm in OBS, by the way. If anybody knows the quick way to get the audio going in mono on OBS, let me know. Otherwise, I'll be clicking around here for a few minutes before we begin. Panning, left, right, down, mix to mono. It's all right, I figured it out. How about that? Your friendly neighborhood Don worked out a thing live. Yes. What up, Thomas? What up, FPS Machette? Yes, you let us know. Garrett Talley, did you get into Vaporwave through Macintosh Plus? No, but my version of Macintosh Plus's legendary 420 is going to be on the next Ryan Celsius Vaporwave mix, and I will be dropping the full version of it on this channel and on Spotify and everything, maybe next week. So how about that? Shouts out to Blunt Trauma, who already won. He already won the prize. The fabulous no prize for working out that Akira the Don, he's got clout. Famous soundbite is from the Fox with Friends interview. He was referring to Ethan Klein. Yeah, that's true. He was. But he wasn't. He was referring to me. And even if he was referring to Ethan Klein, I have stolen that thing now and it is mine. And when anyone hears it, they'll think, ah, yes, Akira the Don. He does have clout. So there you go. What up, Temple Mind Joy? Lateral Usable says, will there be more wattswaves? Well, these things, it's like, you know, I do one thing, and then if people like it, I might do another, or if I feel that it's necessary, I want to do it, I'll do another. But, you know, shit, yeah, I'll do another wattswave. People really like them, and I really like doing them. And we've only really just scratched the surface of the wisdom of Alan Watts. And I also like that lots of you guys out there, I'm finding out this from the comments, hadn't heard Alan Watts before hearing wattswave. There's a lot of people out there who only knew Jordan Peterson or only knew me and hadn't heard Alan Watts, so that's dope. And there's also a couple people out there who are like, this guy doesn't say anything substantial. This is all really obvious. So I've got to do some more stuff to kind of like get them aware. I like that. I hear that people sort of say that about Peterson sometimes, right? It's like, oh yeah, obviously, like, you know, you should like treat yourself like you want other people to treat you, and you should, like, you know, tell the truth. Like, God, what's so great about that? It's like, you know, that's just simple. Was it Bukowski or was it Vonnegut who said that genius might be taking something profound and making it seem simple? Anyway, Garrett Talley says, how sexy do you think Lum is? Yo, like, Lum is like ultimate waifu, like, I guess. Yeah, Lum's a G. Lum is, you know, she's a lucky sprite, is what Lum is. Lum, if anyone's wondering, Lum is like the chick with the green hair and the bikini who's on a bunch of my stuff. Like, she's from this anime called Urusei Yatsura that I used to love when I was like 10. And she's in the tradition of Japanese characters who are kind of like fairies. They're like good luck sprites. So she's like a good luck charm. And like she, you know, she's a beautiful alien creature, but I kind of think she's more like, I don't know. She's cool, and she's fun, and she's lucky. I don't really think of her as like a sex thing. She's like a cool thing. She's like a lucky cool thing. But you know, whatever. Crafty Craft says, at what stage in your life did you start working on music and developing your artist skills? It's a good question. I don't remember anything before the age of 7, maybe 6 or 7. And like that's when I first started making music. Actually, I formed my first band. We were called Ken and the Barbies. It was me and these two chicks. They were basically like the two hot chicks in school. I fancied one of them, so I formed this band called Ken and the Barbies, and I was Ken and they were the Barbies, and it was just basically so I could get to hang out with them. And what we did was we used to. There was this song called "Don't You Want Me, Baby" by the Human League, and we used to like kind of mime to that and do dance routines and sing over it and like bang stuff. And I claimed that I had recorded the song and it was my song. And I had recorded the song using my father's friend Mike Peters from a punk band called The Alarms voice-changing equipment. And everybody believed me because we were 7 and there was no internet. Until one day, this little bitch called Vicky came into school with a copy of the actual record. It's like, you didn't write this record. This is my mum's record. This is Human League. And everyone, the whole school was like, oh, shit. And I was like, ah, fuck. And that was me destroyed for a brief time. Anyway, then I got into making mixtapes and very quickly and copying things from cassette to other cassette. And I would do this stuff where I would like to pull the tape out of the cassette and I would cut it with scissors and then I would chop a bit out and then I would tape it back together to create loops and create like new songs. So I was doing that shit when I was like 7, 8 years old. And then when we got a computer when I was like 14 or something, it had a thing called Windows Sound Recorder that would record like 30 seconds of audio. And I would use that to sample. The first thing I did was I sampled a Suede song and a Beastie Boys song, like the drums from a Beastie Boys song and the guitar from a Suede song, and I managed to put them together and make this like loop thing and make a song over that. So yeah. Anyway, like basically, I've been like making music as long as I can remember in some way, shape, or form, and I always knew I wanted to do it. I also wanted to make comics. When I was little, I was like, I want to make comics and make music. So I used to actually make comics when I was little, and I would sell them at school. I was doing that when I was 7. That's also one of my other 7-year-old early memories. I made a real Ghostbusters comic, and I drew it by hand, and I sold it in school. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. Theo Johnson, so close to hashtag Asa Akira. Oh yes, let me go and answer some questions from the community tab. Shouts out to YouTube giving me the community tab. I'm so special. Oh my god. Yo, so Jay Klish said, thought this said Asa Akira. I mean, I don't know who that is. Boom chat. Yeah, that did occur to me, and I was like, you know what? That's actually good. That probably works in some persuasion form. The Ask Akira sounds like Asa Akira, Asa Akira. Is it Asa or Asa? It would probably make more sense if it was Asa, right? Anyway, R01 says, do you do this full time, or what else do you do for a living? And how did you get into it? Especially, how did you decide to start the Meaning Wave videos? Yo, that's many questions. R01, and I'll start with the first one. Do you do this full time, or what else do you do for a living? The answer is I do this full time. I full time make music, and that's what I do to support my family. We live in Los Angeles. I do most of the money side of stuff because, well, I technically do all the money side of stuff because the nature of the visa that we're in the country on. But of course, you know, my wife works very closely with me on a lot of this stuff and is integral. But yeah, this is the full-time thing that supports our family is this music stuff, and that's the making music in the daytime here in Don Studios, and that's the playing the music out at night in the clubs of Hollywood. And it's very difficult, and it's a very difficult thing to do, and you know, I have no record label or management or agent or anything. This is just me and Mama Don and Hercules out here in the world, kicking it, making it happen. But we're making it happen. It's a beautiful thing. I got this studio. We got this beautiful, you know, we got a lovely apartment. It's got a barbecue. It's dope. So you know, like, and it's because of you guys, you know. So thank you guys, for being here and helping me to do this as what I do full time. So there. And as for how I got into it, well, that was kind of partly in the previous question. I've like always wanted to, and I've always been inclined in this direction. And as far as how did I start the Meaning Wave videos, the Meaning Wave videos are an extension of what I've always done in music. You know, the first online mixtape was me in, I believe, 2003, ATD1. And that involved lots of chopping up of bits of audio of people talking and putting them over hip-hop beats, as well as my own rapping and my friends rapping and things of that nature. So this is an extension of what I've always done. The current iteration of Meaning Wave began one day last year. Maybe, was it August last year? I mean, we could really look it up. If someone wants to check the upload date of Be a Plumber, then we would know. Because the first track I put out was Be a Plumber in the Meaning Wave world. And that was because I got back from DJing, and I used to get back from DJing and put on YouTube and watch lectures, and some of those would be Jordan Peterson, and he said something about how you should be a plumber. You know, it's a good, forthright, noble profession, you know, but if you're going to be a plumber, be a good one. And, you know, sometimes you hear someone say something that's something that you think, and they say it in a cool way. And you're like, yes, I want to make a song about that. I want to make a song around that. So I did. I made a song around that. And it was instantly very popular, which was surprising to me, because I'd been doing all this, I don't know, sort of instrumental, sort of vapor music, and then I did this one song that had a bit of snipped up vocal, and it was very popular. And I was like, because I stopped rapping in 2013, 2014. I stopped releasing pop songs and rap songs, and was like, right, I'm going to go focus on production and DJing, right, and then I'm going to build with that, and then when people are ready, when the world is ready to hear me speak again, I will speak again. So, like, Be a Plumber was the first time I'd put any vocals in any of my songs in a bunch of years, and people loved it. And you're like, oh, yeah, people do like like hearing bits of vocals on songs. Anyway, then I was like, shit. I mean, would it be really ridiculous to do like a whole, like, a full length thing of Jordan Peterson over like instrumental music? Because I was just sitting there in the studio. I'm here. I'm working on stuff. I'm doing admin, and I've got Jordan Peterson lectures on, and I've got a lo-fi stream on, and it was like, you know, I felt that obviously, would it be stupid to combine this as a full-length thing? Would people hate that? Would it be just really annoying? I was like, oh, I want it to listen to for myself, so I made it, and that was the birth of Meaning Wave. Basically, I could go on that about all day, but yeah. Thank you, GT, for the super chat. GT says Joe Rogan, JBP, Dave Rubin, and Akira. Top shootouts and support for all. Support your beliefs from theology to artwork. Yo. Well, thank you. I'm not sure if you're saying that you support them or if you're saying that people in general should support them. But either way, I agree with both sentiments. And I also am glad that people dig the artwork, because I put a lot of time into the artwork. And yeah, people don't even know I do that shit. Like, I work with some great artists now. Aldous Massey and Phased have done the illustrations for the last couple of JBP and wattswaves, for example. And I do a lot of like work with animating backgrounds and textures and blending things and to make these kind of shifting, moving visual things. So yeah, that's as big a part of it for the music as for me. Mason Dales, what's your opinion on the new H3 reaction videos? Are they as good as their older stuff? I don't know. I think that they're a lot more self-conscious about reaction videos now than they used to be, now that there's so many people watching them. And I think those maybe feel a bit more forced than stuff where they just sort of are more reactive. Like, for example, that video Ethan did the other week about that awful, dreadful human who was trying to make that girl feel bad for wearing a Chinese thing to the prom, right? A Chinese dress to the prom. Some asshole was like, that dress is not, my culture is not your goddamn prom dress, bitch. Just an awful, awful human being. And Ethan did a video reacting to that very quickly because he felt something about it, and it was a great video. I feel when they do things that are like what they feel about, you know, that are reactions to what they really feel viscerally, quickly, it's brilliant. That was a brilliant video. So I like those things. They're great anyway. I love those two. They're amazing. I think they're really, really important characters in the culture war, if that's what we're calling it. They're incredibly important. I don't think they get their props enough. People talk about various characters within that world, but they're incredibly important because they kind of, more so than Peterson, they are legitimately sort of centrist, the right word? Non-crazy. Non-ideologically possessed. I think even centrist is the wrong way to describe this. They're not mental, right? They're not out there on the fringes of any kind of like thought possession kind of vibe. And so therefore they can kind of see the lunacy on all sides, and they've always sort of been good at pointing it out, and in a funny way. And in a contemporary funny way that's sort of memey and funny and like makes sense to people who live right in the heart of the modern world, you know. So they're people of their time, and they're incredibly important voices of their time, and I'm very grateful that they exist. Shouts out to Evan Slavic. Thank you for the super chat. It says hi. No question, just says hi. Well, yo, big up. By the way, also just back on H3, their podcast is really good. And they interviewed that guy who sleeps with old ladies lately, and that was really fun. That was really enlightening. So yeah, anyway, back to the questions. Josh says, well, I'm curious as to where you got the idea to create the Meaning Wave series, JBP Watts. I really like what you've done to set yourself apart from the crowd and absolutely enjoyed discovering your channel. Keep it up, Akira. Much love. Well, thank you, Josh. And we spoke a bit about that, but I guess, you know, the birth of the Meaning Wave stuff was the JBP, was Be a Plumber, right? The birth of it was me making mixtapes since I was a little kid. Basically, I've kind of always done this. I mentioned this somewhere else, but the way I revised for my exams when I was 15, 16 was I would record my notes over the top of ambient music and then play it while I went to sleep. So I kind of created my own Meaning Waves, as an educational tool for myself to kind of indoctrinate myself, or educate myself rather. And that's pretty much what I was doing with the JBP wave thing. It's like all these messages, I want to kind of get them to sink into myself better and easier, and like that you put them with music, it works really well. They become like little mantras. For example, I have a what do you call them? An affirmation. After I read Scott Adams' How to Fail at Everything and Still Win Big or something book. He has a whole section in there on affirmations and the power of affirmations, which is very similar to what my buddy Grant Morrison talks about in Chaos Magic with sigils. So you create a sigil. Say you have a desire for something, so you create a sigil. You say, I want to be a plumber. So you write, I want to be a plumber, and then you write it down, and you remove all the repeating letters and things of that nature, and you turn it into like a little glyph, symbol thing. And then you look at it while you spin around, or or something like that, or while you put it on your partner's head while you're making love or something. The idea is that it burns into your subconscious, and then once it's in your subconscious, it kind of works away in your unconscious mind, helping you kind of make that thing come true. And, you know, it's not necessarily like a magical thing. It's like you will sort of unconsciously make decisions and gravitate towards courses of action that will lead you to that coming true, I guess. And that would be the same thing as an affirmation in Scott Adams' very sort of some dry sort of scientific world. That's the same thing as an affirmation. And affirmation, I found that making affirmations that rhyme work better. So my affirmation was, I, Akira the Don, will be a rich and famous artist and DJ. And I would just have that as a little loop rattling around my head. And it's just there and it pops up, and I didn't even make it pop up. So I have a subconscious thing that's like leading me towards like being successful in what I want to be successful in. So part of Meaning Wave was doing that on a grand scale for people. Like being like, okay, here's all these ideas that I think are useful and would help people in general, and will help us to elevate ourselves and evolve quicker. And if I can put these in musical form, they'll become like little memes in the original sense of the word, like little thought viruses that will embed themselves in your unconscious mind and then like do their work. So part of this is what I'm trying to do is help with the evolution of us as a species to the grand next level, the yellow level, as it's known in I can't remember the name of that guy's theory, but whatever. That's what we're getting to, and I'm trying to help with that basically. So that's another reason. That's another thing that Meaning Wave is for. So yes, back to the chat room. Haiku King says, sorry I'm late. Can you do a live poetry reading of Trap by Bukowski? But not the famous one, the short, obscure one. Well, the one I know, because it's funny you should say this, but I spent about fucking an hour, maybe, or more, the day before yesterday, trying to find Bukowski reading Trapped, right? Because I wanted to put it on my summer mix. And I couldn't find it anywhere. This is one of the things that takes time about these mixes and things, is I have specific ideas for what I want to put in the audio and stuff, and then finding it is sometimes a nightmare. Now, the poem, if I can find the right version. Why can't I find it now? I could find it yesterday. Well, oh, here you go. Yeah. So I believe... No, why can't I find it now? Oh my god. Anyway, it's a great poem. I love it very much. Maybe if you pop a link, I can find it, or maybe you can't find links. Shabba. Yeah. Well, is this? No, that's the quote version. In the winter, on my ceiling, my eyes the size of street lamps. I have 4 feet like a mouse. What? No, that's not it. Anyway, whatever. If you want to send it for the proper version through, I will read it. YouTube hero Alex says, "God damn it, I'm 22 minutes late. Forgive me, Lord Akira the Don." Yo, whatever, man. That's cool. You're just on time. You're at the right time. There you go. I have a face like a wash rag. I sing love songs and carry steel. I would rather die than cry. I can't stand hounds, can't live without them. I hang my head against the white refrigerator and want to scream, like the last weeping of life forever. But I am bigger than the mountains. Gang! Bigger than the mountains. Whoop. Bigger than the mountains. Whoop. Bigger than the, whoop. Yo, I really want to, I might just fucking have to go on Fiverr and find a guy to read that in a Bukowski voice or a Tom Waits voice. Maybe I just need to befriend Tom Waits. Really, this is actually one of my ambitions. There's so much Bukowski stuff I love, and the best voice for reading Bukowski isn't actually Bukowski, it's Tom Waits. Right? And Tom Waits has read 2 Bukowski poems, and I turned them into meaning waves. And if you've not heard them, check out wattswave on my channel. It's dope. But, yeah, I just basically want to make friends with Tom Waits, and then I can get him to read my favorite Bukowski short stories and then turn them into meaning waves. So there you go. If anyone wants to help out with that. Shouts out Theo Johnson said, really liked the Golden Age. Yo, thank you very much. I'm glad people dig the Golden Age. That was my first vocal single since I stopped, as I told you. So yeah, got shitloads more ready. By the way, I have a lot of goddamn music. My God. Back to the questions. Winnie the Weirbo says, "Can you put your seatbelt on, please?" Hell no. Oh yeah. Evan Slavic says, "Marijuana." Well, that's a good question. I used to smoke an awful lot of weed. I used to be like a smoke weed every day guy. Now I'm basically straight edge. The reason for this is I find weed is really good for creative stuff. This is for me, by the way. It's always different for everybody. I find weed is really good for creative stuff. If I'm like making an album or mixing or editing or anything like that. But I just cannot do admin. I cannot do admin if I've had any weed anywhere near me, like, and it'll extend to the next day. Like, I can't answer an email. I can't do any kind of admin stuff. And I'm trying to work with such like ferocious intensity right now. I'm trying to be incredibly hyper productive, so there is just no room for anything like that. There's not even really room for a hangover. It's like if I have a hangover, that shit will slow me down like 4 hours or something. And I can't do that. I'm trying to put out 3 projects a week on this YouTube. I'm trying to produce albums for people. I'm trying to produce albums for myself. I'm trying to be the best DJ in the world. Like, I'm trying to like grow this channel to 100,000 subs by Christmas. I've got a wife. I've got a kid. I'm trying to be like the best father I can be. I'm trying to like be there in his life all the time and shit. Like, and like play with him and stuff. And you know, I got a lot of shit to do. So like marijuana, just doesn't like work for me right now. You know, I mean, yeah, you know, everything has its use and everything has its right place, but right now I'm trying to be ultra productive. So there. Jocko KDK says, in response to my community tab post, which had a picture of me and Hercules in it, "Is that your daughter married?" No, that's my son. He's called Hercules, and yes, I'm married. Very happily so. I have been married for a long time. I don't know how long, but I know that me and my wife have been together since, I think it was 2006. So, yeah, that's dope. I would recommend it highly. It's a beautiful thing to have a family. It's a beautiful thing to have, like, a team. It's a beautiful thing to, like, be able to trust someone completely with everything and, like, work together to be amazing versions of yourself and, like, try and affect the world in a positive way. Yeah, so that. Haiku King says, "I just put my Sourcewave Radio shirt on." Yo, proud of you. Yeah, send us a picture. If anyone has any merch, send me pictures of you and your merch so I can post it on my Instagram. I'm now posting 3 times a day on my Instagram because that's a thing. So yeah, send me pictures of you wearing Meaning Wave stuff and I'll put it on my Instagram. Crafty Craft says, "How old is the Don?" The Don is immortal. Like Highlander. Evan Slavic says, "Do you like any heavier music? Dubstep, metal, rap?" When I was 9, was it? I was a proper little metalhead, and I had a leather jacket with tassels and like Alice Cooper t-shirts, and I was really into Megadeth and shit like that. But I was also at the same time into rap music, and basically that's always been the way. I love a lot of heavy stuff. When it's time to be heavy, I will heavy hard. Andrew WK's album is one of the best albums of the year, by the way. Yeah, you know, I love, like, all music has its place. There is no such thing as a bad genre, and, you know, music's an incredibly powerful thing, an incredibly useful thing. So there. Right, where we are. I'm really kind of backed up on the chat, so excuse me if you've said anything there and I've missed it. YouTube hero Alex says, I don't know if the question's been asked, but what mix has been your personal favorite to work on? JBP Wave 1 to 6, any of the meaning wave, any particular mix within the series? Do you know what? I think maybe the Tom Waits one. The Waits Bukowski one. It's weird. I'm just that might not be true. That's the first one that pops to mind because it was such a easy, but they're really hard, these things. And I love them and I love it, and everyone is like, most things I do, and I find this is true with most people when I speak to them, right? When you're doing a creative thing, it's like the first like 60% or whatever is like really, it's like, okay, the initial idea, fantastic, this is an exciting idea, and you start and the first bit is like, ooh, cool, we're going, this is great. Then it's difficult because it doesn't sound exactly like you want it to, and it's, you see all these problems, and then suddenly there's a moment that comes and it clicks and it's magical, and then you're like over the hill and then it's beautiful. But they're very fucking difficult things to do. But the Tom Waits Bukowski one, which was a short thing, and it was like, it was so easy. It just, everything about it just flowed together very simply, and it was just this thing that didn't exist 1 minute, and then it did, and it was instantly perfect. Like, every time I do anything, there's always a bit of it I was like, oh shit, that bit annoys me, or I could have done that bit, like, that delay was a bit too long, or that vocal was a bit too sharp, or that beat was a little too wide, whatever it is. There's always some imperfection I hear, but that thing is honestly perfect. It's just a perfect thing. I love it. So yeah. Anyway, Bukowski waves are your best work, boss, says Haiku King. Hey, there you go. Thanks. They're not the most popular, but we're at this cool stage with the channel right now where it's like really pretty small still. It's very small, and like it hasn't yet found its true audience. Like out there are millions of people who will love this music and love this stuff and find it really useful, and they don't know it exists yet, which is really exciting. It's like you guys, you outliers, you like the tip of the spear, the tip of the spear. You guys are very early on this stuff. Like you can count yourselves as pioneers because you're here super early, and like that means that you guys, you know, you move into the future before everyone else, which is dope. Asadi El Eli Abraham, Assad Ali says, what made you use some more of the Alan Watts voiceovers? Well, more. I don't know about. You know, Alan Watts was something people were asking me to do for a while, which is interesting, and a lot of people were asking me for Alan Watts, like so many people were, and then I did an Alan Watts and people liked it, and then I did more Alan Watts because, like I said before, if I do a thing and people like it, then I will do more of it. If I like it and I think it's useful, and I want to, and if there's something there that makes me feel something, you know, I'm trying a lot harder to be. I used to be one of these like punk rock little motherfuckers who was like, I'm gonna do what I feel like doing today, and if anyone else likes it, then I don't give a shit. You know, which is cool. But like now I'm like, I'm trying to do stuff that I know you guys will find useful. But that doesn't mean I still won't do, it's not like all like, right, I'm going to do this because this is exactly what they want and what will be popular. As you can see from the stuff I put out random stuff that maybe you wouldn't expect or that no one asked for. No one asked for Naval Wave. Literally no one. Not a single person asked for that. But I really wanted to do that, and I've been wanting to do that since before the Peterson ones, in fact. By the way, you really should follow Naval on Twitter at Naval. Like, he's just dropped so much useful, wise, smart shit. He did a tweet thread last night, which basically which is like, it's titled like How to Get Rich or something. And everything in it was lessons that I've spent my whole life learning. And if only I'd known when I was in my late teens, I would have be running the world by now. And he just gives away this source for free. And by the way, I'm all about giving away source for free. I mentioned this the other day, and I truly believe it. Like, giving away the source, giving away your wisdom and your knowledge, you should definitely do it. You shouldn't worry about, you know, people using it to take your spot or anything like that. And one of the reasons for this is that most people won't use it. Like 99% of people won't like take the advice and do anything with it. They'll be like, oh, that's a good idea, and then life will get in the way. But they will always remember you as being a saucy fellow. Re3 Rick says, is there music on this stream? Usually there is, and there will be again once I'm done with the Ask Akira. So right now we're having a little question and answer thing, and then you'll get the music back. YouTube Hero Alex says, ever consider a Discord server? Yes, I have. I've actually set one up, but I haven't opened it up to the public yet, because it's a bit like shit. I need to make hashtags and chat rooms and things, right? Which seems like a lot of work. But yeah, I'm going to finish that. So you'll have that soon. It's just a time thing. There is so much to do here in Don Studios. Back to the questions. YouTube Jew, do you feel you'll eventually reach a plateau and a subsequent burnout of the meaning wave genre? Any ideas for new vocal sources other than JBP, Jocko, Watts? Thank you always. Well, that's a good question. It's a very fair question. But the answer would be no. Plateau is death. So that's maybe I'll die one day. But and as far as like people to sample and put over music, like I said, I've literally been doing that for my whole career, for 15 years before it was called Meaning Wave. And as far as, let's see who we have in Meaning Wave, we've got Alan Watts, we've got Peterson, we've got Jocko, we've got Leonard Cohen, we've got Naval, we've got Internet's Historian, we've got Hunter S. Thompson, we've got Tom Waits, we've got Jack Kirby, oops. And there's others. So we've got a bunch, and so far that have already come out. And as far as what I've got coming up, I have an ridiculous list. At this point, I have enough stuff for another year, and I haven't even really worked that hard on sourcing ideas. All right, my brilliant artists, I hit them all up yesterday with like a list of stuff for the next couple of months, and they're working on visuals and shit. Like, we're getting organized out here. So never fear, my friends. We ain't running out of steam anytime soon. YouTube Hero Alex says, we'll be one of the first ones in the Discord, my friend. All right, wicked. I will announce that on the community tab. Garrett Talley, can you start sampling Alex Jones? I haven't listened to Alex Jones for a while. Alex Jones is someone that I check in on every now and again. He's a very important figure in culture. He has been around for a long time. He's been very influential for a long time. I sampled him on something like in like 2002, 3. One of my first mixtapes had some good prime era Jones samples. So yeah, he's a great source of samples. I don't think he would work in a Meaning Wave in the current season, shall we say, just with regards to the story that I'm telling. I'm kind of thinking about this in like phase, like Marvel's cinematic universe thing. So we're in phase 1 right now. But yeah, we are. Anyway, I know what I'm doing. Don't worry. Assad says, I only recently found out Meaning Wave on your channel, and every day I listen to your Peterson and Watts on my commute to work and at work. This really helps my productivity because I'm a software developer. Yeah. Awesome. Says, so thanks for the amazing content. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. Where were we? Yeah, I need to put this in a order for going through these questions, I think, because otherwise it's just random. Never mind. Riku, have you played or heard of Hyper Light Drifter? The answer is no. So email me something. AkiraTheDon@gmail.com if you ever want to email me any tips or whatever. If it's anything to do with games, I'm on a PlayStation 4. The only game I'm playing at the moment is Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 with Hercules, my 5-year-old son, and that's very fun. Oh, that's a great game. Luna Vasco says, what's the best advice you can give a new lo-fi producer? I love your concepts. Hey, thank you. Well, the best advice I would give a new lo-fi producer would be maybe don't worry about the lo-fi bit. Because here's one thing about like lo-fi hip-hop as a genre. It's pretty much the same as any hip-hop ever. It honestly is. It's exactly the same as the hip-hop I was making when I was first making beats in like 2002. And maybe that's because I didn't know what I was doing and they sounded lo-fi. But so I wouldn't worry about the lo-fi aspect of it, because the reason I say that is that will make you that'll kind of make you think that you have to do certain stuff, like use a certain snare or use a certain sample. And the more people do that, then the less interesting it will become, because everything will sound the same, you know. So I would just think of it from the point of view of like you're making music and you have a, you know, you like certain sounds, right? So maybe work in those directions, but don't be worrying about the whole thing sounding exactly like the records that you like, because that leads to stagnation, and we don't need any of that. So yeah, but anything else would be like, you know, like fuck man, you can make music on a $200 laptop in your bedroom, and it can be the best music in the world. I know for a fact some of like the best lo-fi joints were made in that fashion. And there's hits, man. There's like massive pop hits that are made in that fashion these days. So just start making music and work it out as you go along. What's great about now is there are 12-year-olds on YouTube who will tell you everything, how to do everything. So if you're confused about something, you can find out really easily. I literally had to work it all out myself. We didn't have that when I was coming up. But the thing, I mean, the good thing that was good about working out myself was I did a bunch of shit wrong for many years that I later found out were technically wrong. But they were kind of part of my sound, and I still use some of those techniques that I made up by accident. So yeah. Lateral Usable says, are you interested in having your music in animation or video games? The answer is a very firm yes. That's exactly what I'm interested in. One of my major goals or ambitions or desires or whatever you might want to call it. I really want to soundtrack a video game. And I really want to have my music in animation and everything, really. But I really want to soundtrack a video game, definitely. Adam says, yo, I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate you and your Larry David Avi, you bad motherfucker. Evan Slavic says, do you hang out with friends at all? Or do you grind most of the time? That's a good question. The answer is I grind most of the time, but I have made my job necessitate hanging out with friends to a degree. So I have to hang out with friends in my capacity as a DJ. So that's good. So I'm forced to like leave the house and go to places and play music, and then that forces me to be sociable. Because otherwise, yeah, I just would be fucking in here working, grind. And that's one thing I do need to do, is try and be a bit more sociable. But you know, we have homies over on Sundays to watch Westworld at the moment. You know, we have like watch parties for shit, so people come over. I got some close homies that like I fuck with. But I got my wife and my kid, and I hang out with them a lot. But yeah, I am. It's pretty much mostly grind. I gotta say, it's a whole bunch of grind. Infusion says, much love to you and your family. Great work. Thank you very much. That's very sweet. DA says, why do you move to LA, and would you ever live in the UK again? That's a good question. And why I moved to LA, the short answer is life is as kind as you let it be, which is something Bukowski once noted after rising at 1 p.m. with an almighty hangover and going back to bed. So that's the short answer, and the longer answer is that I was in London for like 13 years, and I think I'd exhausted London and its potential with me. There's a thing when you're in the same place for a long time, you stop seeing its magic, and like you've created so many habit loops that time is just speeding along, and it's more difficult for you to like do new things. So you end up kind of creating a situation and then being stuck in the situation. If you want a different situation, one of the best things to do is move your location, and that instantly like reintroduces magic that visceral magic of when you first, when you first go in a new city and find a new bar and seeing new stuff, it slows down time because you're creating new habit loops. Once you've created a habit loop, your mind kind of like doesn't bother registering it as you're executing it, so time speeds up. Boom, boom, boom. That's why like the summers of your youth were so long, because it was all new. And then as you go through life, you create habit loops. So people who like, get a job and then live in the same place and all that, like life speeds by fast for them because they're in these habit loops. But yeah, so you have to keep breaking things up. And LA, I found, I came out to LA. Grant Morrison had me come out to Vegas to play this festival, right? He had me and Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance come out to do the music for this Grant Morrison Con Festival. And on the way back, I popped by LA to see a friend of mine, and he was living out here. And he was DJing some club, and I came out and hung out with him, and then he had to go do something, so I DJ'd for him, and it went really well. And I'd be like walking down the street, and people would just be like pulling up their cars and just like, like, who the hell are you? You're amazing. What are you doing? Oh, we're throwing this party. Come and play this party. It was ridiculous. I would get more opportunities just literally walking down the street in 20 minutes in Los Angeles than I would get in a year in London. And it was partly because I know what it was. I'm walking around with this wide-eyed wonder, all excited and joyful. And like that really like radiates, and people really notice that, and that people are gravitated towards you when you're in that state of mind. So anyway, so I was like, damn, this place is cool, and I was coming out here and doing stuff, and it was fun. And then I did this gig in London. It was just absolutely awful. It was just this dreadful, 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 dreadful gig. And I had all these cool people come out, I had good friends come out, and fans came out to support, but just like, I don't know, this kind of army of kind of like sarcastic, miserable hipsters kind of glaring at me. Or like, it's like, why am I here? Why am I banging my head against this brick wall? And I could be over there where it's sunny, and they seem to like me. So I said to my wife, hey, let's move to LA. What do you think? And she was like, yeah. She's ride or die, and she's a bad motherfucker. And so we moved to LA. That was that. It wasn't that. It was very difficult doing it. Like, I had to get a visa. I had to prove a case of being an artist of extraordinary ability to get this O1 visa, where you have to prove that like you do some shit that other people can't do, and all this stuff. And like I'd spent a year basically almost like sleeping on sofas and shit, and like building myself over here and getting DJ gigs while my family like slept in like my mother-in-law's spare bedroom back in the UK before we could like come back together. And we only got our own first house over here in December. It has not been easy. But we're here now, we're making it happen, and it's an amazing, amazing thing. So, yeah. And as for would I ever live in the UK again, it doesn't look like it right now. It's a big old world. There's lots of places to live, And there's just some creepy stuff happening in the UK with regards to the nature of freedom and stuff. That just, and life is as kind as you let it be. I went back to the UK to get my visa. I haven't been in a fight the whole time I've been in LA, right? People are just really nice to me over here for whatever reason. I'm back over there. I'd been there like a day or something, and I'm in the supermarket, and some guy nearly tramples Hercules underfoot. He's staring at his phone. I'm like, yo, what are you doing, dude? This guy doesn't say sorry. He launches into this like expletive-laden attack, just like, fucking kill you, yeah, fucking C-word, all this type of stuff. Hercules is hilarious. Hercules like launches out, don't talk to my dad like that, you asshole. But I was like, Jesus Christ. So I've been back like a day, and I was in some like old school UK confrontation. So, ugh. Hercules goes to the park, right? And he's just very used to being over here and playing with kids and kids being nice. He's over there. He's over by the slide with some kids. He comes running over to his mum. He's like, Mum, those kids just called me a skinny buttlord and told me to fuck off. Oh, God. And that's the UK. Like, I've got love for the UK. I'm from the UK. I love my family. I love my UK people. But it's a harsh place to live, man. It's a harsh place to live. It's a harsh environment. Like, the weather is dreadful, and people are pissed off. People are pissed off and bitter, So I think I need that in my life personally. I had a lot of that. I had like, I don't know, 20 or whatever it was years of that. And now I'll try and do some other shit. So there. Haiku King says, the best DJ in the world. Keep riding the wave. Thank you, brother. FPS Machette says, just got an idea. Why not a Tucker Carlson wave? What I would like to see would be someone create some kind of visual thing that's like Tucker doing his Tucker face. That face he does where he furrows his brow at absolute like shock and disbelief at the at the complete morinism he's witnessing, and like just 50 hours of that. Teresa the Kid says, so much respect for you. Thank you very much. Teresa the Kid says, how old is Herc? Hercules is 5. Which is a kind of illustrates how long we've been doing this whole, like, you know, move to LA, become best DJ in the world thing. Because, like, when we left our crib in Hackney in London, he was crawling. You know, we had him in that house. We had a home birth. And he crawled out of that place. He crawled onto the aeroplane. And by the time we got off the aeroplane, he was standing. He stood up on the aeroplane and, like, ran up one of the aisles and, like, tried climbing up some girl's skirt. He became a man that day. All right, where are we at with these questions? What time is it? Okay, we got 10 more minutes. We got shit. This went fast. We have 10 more minutes of this, so yeah, drop your questions in the chat. We have 10 more minutes. I have a few more I need to answer from the community tab. Graham Steer says, what mixing and editing software do you use? Well, I use Logic Pro X on a Mac. I used to be a Fruity Loops and Acid guy, and then I made an album with Stephen Hague, who's a legendary producer. He did my second album. He did like New Order's True Faith and like Blur and Bjork and various people. And he basically showed me Logic on a Mac. It was like, look, this would suit your style of composition better, I think. And he like basically like gave me like a 2-hour lesson on it. And then I got a Mac laptop and Logic and never turned back. It's definitely much better for me. And what's amazing, I just realized, is the laptop I'm DJing on and making Meaning Wave when I'm at home and not in the studio is that very laptop I bought in 2011, right? So anyone moans about like Macs being expensive or whatever, that motherfucker is 7.5 years old and like is still going like a trooper. I shouldn't have said that because I might have cursed it. I love you, laptop. I love you, laptop. So yeah, anyway, so yeah, I use Logic, and you know, lots of sounds and keyboards and drums and things. I don't know. Outside of that, it's like you have the freedom to sculpt whatever kind of sonic palette you require and that you like in music these days. You can literally do whatever you want. It's a beautiful thing. El Zoetico says, did you get your name Akira from the anime movie also titled Akira? Or is that just coincidence? Tell the truth or at least don't lie. Yes, you're right. I did. I saw that movie when I was like 10, and it changed my life. In the same way I talked to Grant Morrison, he tells me about how when he was 10, he saw 2001: A Space Odyssey, and his mum took him to see it like 3 or 4 times in the cinema in a week, and they just kept going back to see it, which is crazy. That's such a weird movie. Like, that movie couldn't be made now, and you certainly wouldn't go see it in the cinema 4 times. But he did, and it changed him fundamentally as a person, and kind of made him what he is now in a lot of ways. And I would say Akira was the same with me. And when it came time for me to need a rap name, well, first I was called Kid Shifty and Flyboy. They called me Flyboy. People used to call me that because I used to wear these big like fly goggles. And all the girls in Birmingham used to call me Flyboy. But anyway, I took Akira as my name, basically because of that. And also it has this symmetry, and some people have told me it kind of means the same as the same like symbolic or whatever meaning as Adam in Japan, but without the Christian connotations or something. But whatever. Anyway, I'm Akira now. My wife calls me Akira. Everybody calls me Akira. So now I'm Akira, and that's why. As far as the Don bit came because my old band, I was in this rap crew, and we were on our first tour, and we had this rule where you were only allowed to communicate via rap, like even if you're ordering a sandwich or whatever. So I got really good at freestyling really quick. So I announced that I was Akira the Don in the middle of one of these freestyle conversations. I think it might have been in a service station. And I've been Akira the Don ever since. So there. Haiku King says, what book should I read next? Have you read Hot Water Music by Charles Bukowski? You probably have. But if you haven't, read that. That's my favorite Bukowski book. And if you haven't read The Rum Diary by Hunter S. Thompson, read that. And if you haven't read, what's that Jared Lanier book? he had this book that changed my life fundamentally, and I can't even remember what it's called. Jaron Lanier. What was his book? Books. Jaron Lanier. Was it Who Owns the Future? No. Was it You're Not a Gadget, a Manifesto? Damn, I don't even know what it was called, and I read it. But anyway, read a Jared Lanier book. Maybe it's Who Owns the Future. But anyway, that was the book that made me realize my indoctrination with regards to socialism, how ridiculous that had been. That book made the point very amazingly that, like, my existence as a musician, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, the fact that I do this and this pays for me and my family to live. This would not be possible, well, this has never been possible in human history, and it's been made possible thanks to capitalism. That I can, make music and put it out, and people pay me for it in various ways, whether it's through super chats or through buying things on Bandcamp or T-shirts or whatever it is. And previously, if you wanted to make art or music, basically, like, either the king or whatever leader would, like, patronage you, and then you would get to do it, but otherwise you were screwed. In the socialist utopia, if you're not, like, sing Billy Bragg, you're probably screwed. So anyway, Colin Woodbury says Akira is a great male name. Yeah, right. Also, there's chicks called Akira, weirdly, but it's still a great male name. Colin Woodbury says it's a first name that's from Old Japanese. It's not Chinese derived. Yes. Teresa the Kid says Akira is a lot better than Flyboy. Lol. Yes, I agree. It is. All right, boom. What is it? What we got? We got 4 minutes left. Did I answer all the questions over here? Who's your favorite ancient philosopher? Huh. Calvin. From Calvin and Hobbes, I would say. Yes. Definitely Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes, actually. If you've never read Calvin and Hobbes, by the way, you should definitely read Calvin and Hobbes. I kind of feel that the sum of human wisdom is contained in that strip. And it's great. It has a beginning and an end, and it's like, it's self-contained, this thing, and you can read all of them, and all the mysteries of life are kind of in there. So, yeah. GT says, stickers, please. Oh, yeah, someone... I saw this scroll by earlier and then didn't notice it. Yeah, the shop's getting a revamp. And on your suggestions, new stuff is being added and all that. That'll be coming early next week. If you haven't yet, if you go to my community tab, the last post, second to last post, was asking like what you want from the store, merch-wise. So if there's anything you want, go leave it over there. And leave a message over there, even. And we'll get it for you. Because, you know, this is all, we're here to serve you. I've been meaning to get this tattoo that says non serviam, which means I will not serve, which is what God said to the devil before he kicked him out of heaven. And I like that because it's basically, for me, that symbolizes the birth of human consciousness. That's like, you know, when you get to choose. But at the same time, I'll do like, is it Vala Magulus? Whatever, the Game of Thrones thing is in like all men must serve, because that's also true, right? This is the conflicting, the beautiful oxymoronic conflicting thing. Like, you should refuse to serve, but also you must serve. At some point, you must serve someone or something, if you're to have a meaningful life. But at the same time, you must also know when to not serve and when to refuse to serve. You know. So anyway, I don't know why that just came up. Evan Slavic says, are you thinking about a second child? Yeah, man, full blown. I want I want an army. I want a squad. I want a football team. Hercules needs a peer group. So yeah, definitely. Multi. I don't have any regrets or anything, but if I was giving advice to like a younger me, or anyone young actually, I would just say have kids and have them early. I think it's terrible advice to be like, oh, wait, because there's never a right time. Hercules was an accident. A glorious accident, but we didn't plan him, or we wouldn't have had him, because we'd have been like, oh, we don't have enough money yet, we're not in a good enough position yet, we're not stable enough yet. But once they're there, and they're amazing. And like Hercules is like one of the most incredible things I've ever witnessed in the universe. Hercules is an incredible thing, and he fills my life with so much joy. So I would say anyone, have kids and have them early. Have kids at 16. Have them whatever. I don't give a fuck. Just have kids, man. Like, maybe 16 is a bit early. Maybe not. I don't know. I think the modern thing is like way too far in the other direction. Because you have kids and you'll work it out. Right? You'll work it out. No one knows the answers. As Naval says, like, no one's really an adult. Like, everyone's making it up as they go along. No one knows everything. Like, every so-called adult, you're a little... Like, Alan Watts said something about this, like the way he used to look at his grandfather. You think of him as this incredible, mighty, like, godlike creature that knew everything and had everything figured out. And then he got to his grandfather's age and he realized how foolish that was. And he realized, like, inside himself, he still pretty much felt like he did when he was a kid. And the older you get, the more you know if you're doing things properly, and if you have any wisdom about you, the more you know how little you know. And the further along you go, the vastness of what you don't know and will never know just makes itself more and more apparent to you. So there's no right time to have kids, and if you're just waiting for the right time, you'll never have them. So have a bunch of kids. Like, the more the better. And there we go. It's 3:30. We've been here for an hour. This has been fun. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. And yeah, I'm going to switch Sourcewave Radio back on. I'm going to switch this off, then I'm going to call wifey and get her to switch Sourcewave back on in the crib. So Sourcewave will be back here in a second. And if you like, I'll do another one of these Ask Akira things maybe next week or something. You let me know if this was fun and useful for you and how often you would like to have these chats. I'll also work out whether I'm going to make this live or just delete it. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, anyway. Love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for being here.